Hello guys, and welcome once again to a new Wargame video by me, Vulcan. Today I am playing on Hell's Highway 1v1, and no, I am not NATO today, I am Pact. Yes, that's right, I don't play Pact very often, but I was trying out a lot of different decks recently, and I have been losing a lot of my games because of it. I'm just going to say that now. Anyway, today my strategy was something very different, but I'm going to be showing you two games today because they're both very short and they both sort of run the same theme, and it was quite hilarious, especially the second game, which I'll get to in due time. Anyway, as you can see, I've actually got two smirches. Now, I'm not a fan of rocket artillery. I think it's complete douchebaggery, but I thought, hell. My strategy was to make them attack me. The best way to do that is to harass them with rocket artillery, and so that's what I decided to do. Here you can see the base defense. I've got a book with a couple of shulkers and SPW 60PBs with motor shoots in them, and of course my command armor. But other than that, I brought in, or decided to bring in, I'm going to speed it up a little bit, some Mi-24Ds and Mi-24As with special forces in them. These all have special forces. This Mi-8TV has a VDV. As you know, that they have VPZU. The Mi-24Ds have Spetsnaz. The Mi-24D LSKs have FJB, and the Mi-24A have the VDV. So there was that. And the strategy was to basically push around to the left and capture this point here. Now you'll see it doesn't exactly go to plan, and ultimately causes my opponent to surrender, which is quite funny. Anyway, I wasn't going to put all of the special forces there. I was actually going to send a couple of special forces up towards Alpha so that I could then attack him there. So yeah, my whole strategy was around these forces right here, and you can see I've got a nice stray command armor there without anything, because I didn't have enough time to put down the rest of the forces to complement that, because I realised that if my strategy went wrong, I would kind of be like left with nothing basically. So I needed a command vehicle to sit in Gregory and basically give me some points just in case I screwed up this thing here, which is a big gamble. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing that because it's not going to work out very well. Now, here you can see that because I kind of don't have any support for that, I move it into the forest for now, and I move my smirches over to the right side of this FOB, and along with the SPWs and the shulkers. So here you can see my reinforcements coming in. This is basically going to accompany this command armor in Gregory. I also accidentally deleted my Mi2 somehow, so basically I have to bring in another one of them, because I was thinking of doing a really crazy thing, and that was basically getting some attack choppers and a command helicopter, which I haven't used in a while, and basically going around the right side of the map and then capturing Anna. But here you can see the first thing that probably made my opponent rage a little. The fact that I found his Hueys with Delta Force in them, and with the Mi-24D's Gatling cannons, I make short work of them and leave the Delta Force there to basically, I don't know, they're kind of stranded in the middle of nowhere and they're not going to be getting anywhere soon, so I just decide to get further up and drop off the things I need to. Spot another couple of Hueys and I press forwards to catch out them with my Mi-24Ds again. And what's this? Oh, a couple of Apaches. Now, I have no idea why he did this, but he continues to attack my helicopters with his Apaches. Not the best idea, especially against Mi-24Ds. I've learnt this the hard way. Never face Mi-24Ds with Apaches. Apaches will always lose. The Mi-24Ds cannons are way too powerful against other helicopters. Now here you can see he does manage to shoot down a couple of my helicopters with his autocannons that the Apaches get, because they have a longer range and he can stay out of range of my Mi-24Ds. And because he's flying backwards and I'm flying forwards, my Mi-24Ds actually managed to catch up with him. Now I know he's leading me towards AA. As you can see, he does have a couple of chaparrals. However, my troops are only worth half as much as his Apaches, so I feel it's definitely worth it for my Mi-24Ds to be chasing these Apaches off the battlefield. And I know that's a large portion of his troops, because obviously if he's brought in 2 Apaches at the start, that's over 300 points worth in air from the start. Like, yeah, I did that, but I've also got these infantry units which have been shot out of their helicopters. Now with that, I can't really drop these guys off. I probably should have dropped off the guys out of the helicopters before I continued my push onto the Apaches. However, in the end it didn't really matter. So with these 2 units of special forces routing around everywhere, I'm basically trying to decide what I need to do with them. I've got my Mi-2 here coming around for some recon. But these guys have revealed the chaparrals and M2A1 Bradleys and VABs. That's all he has left. And honestly, it was a bit crazy. Here you can see he brings in Armada Roland 2 and catches my Mi-24A out. And also destroys the other helicopter over here. And then I realised that those Hueys that I shot down earlier had already dropped out the Delta Force. And they managed to snipe my VDV as they get blown out of the helicopter. Anyway, these VPZU have recovered and I'm sending them further up towards his base to try and get around behind his command vehicle. And over here you can see my Spetsnaz are slowly moving into the back of Boris to try and find the command vehicle there. The only trouble with Spetsnaz is they have an anti-infantry rocket, not an anti-tank rocket. They can attack vehicles with it, but they have to be very close and it doesn't do much damage. So anyway, I brought my FJB up here. Anyway, there's only a couple of guys left in that squad, and they're just going to cover the airspace around there while my Spetsnaz try and find this command vehicle. So now I'm pretty fucked, and so is he. I shouldn't have probably lost all those helicopters, that's for sure. I'm being a bit ruthless at the moment with my strategies, and I'm a very aggressive player, it seems, at the moment. But luckily my Spetsnaz managed to stun that M11 4A1 before it manages to do too much damage to them. But anyway, it routs my Spetsnaz eventually, and I head back to attack him once again. The only trouble with it is I've still got these smirches over here, and I decide to go and attack these mortar carriers, but before I get a chance, he surrenders. Now, I don't know why he surrendered, because honestly he probably would have won had he continued the game. But I think the main lesson you need to learn out of this game is that you shouldn't bring in Apaches early game unless you're going for air domination. And he didn't have enough air units to really support what he was using. Like, the Hueys are okay on their own, as long as you don't bump into a whole force of Mi-24Ds. But basically, having 2 Apaches at the beginning and letting them get killed like that was not a good idea, and that's probably why he surrendered in the end. Also, my Spetsnaz and Special Forces were all over the place by then, so he was probably feeling a bit overwhelmed. Anyway, that's that game. Nice and short and sweet, gave me a lovely victory. The second game is hilarious. Okay, so you've seen the strategy, and we're now on to the second game. This Circassian army guy was trying to... Basically, he was calling me a noob, let's just put it that way. I have no idea why. I said good luck, have fun. He asked me where I was from, I said UK, all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden he was like, you're a noob. He was like, I hope you're not a virgin, because if you are, you won't be at the end of this game. And I thought that was quite funny. So I was like, well, I'll go with it, because, you know, he's probably very confident that he's going to win. So, yeah, I went with the same strategy again. But this time I decided that it'd be a good idea if I did it a little better. Obviously, you know, I went with the Smirches, the couple of Shilkers, the SPW-60s, all to defend the base with the Burk and the BRDM. Also this time I bring in the BRDM with a couple of Motorshoots and Shilkers ready at the start. And then I continue to place down the helicopters with the FJB and the VPZU, I think, at the beginning of the game. So yeah, here you can see I've brought in only 4 helicopters this time. I felt the last time I went with 6 and it was a bit over excessive. I didn't necessarily need to use that many. Anyway, again I forgot my recon, so that comes in late. But I also decide, because this guy has been a bit cocky, that he might try something a bit out of the box. So I have to bring in another recon just to check the right out of curiosity. Anyway, I'm following my helicopters onto the left, and I'm going to basically place them straight at the Boris reinforcement point as soon as possible. This way I won't be wasting all the troops I had in them if I bump into any other helicopters that may be in the way. So with this sort of rush, it basically allows you to use these Mi-24Ds afterwards to do whatever you want. And that's exactly what I do. So that's the idea of this strategy. You drop off the special forces and then you use those helicopters to do a lot more damage. Here you can see I basically tell them to land, and the good thing about Mi-24Ds is they land very quickly, and you can see here I drop them off straight away and they nicely land in the forest. So here you are, VDV in the Mi-24Ds and Mi-24D LSKs have FJBs. As soon as that's done, I pull them up and push them up towards Anna and hide them in the corner of the map until recon arrives. But here you can see I'm just placing the VDV into this building here, while the FJB sit in the forest with the anti-aircraft. So the reason I'm using this combination is the VDVs have extremely accurate rockets, while the FJB have the most accurate anti-air out of all of the special forces. Anyway, he decides to bring in Armada Roland 2, and that gets sniped easily. Here you can see my Mi-2 is just waiting here for me to give it a command, as my Mi-2 moves up on the right and doesn't spot anything significant. I've moved up my command vehicle into Gregory, supported by these Motorshoots and the Shilkers, which are falling behind. Probably shouldn't have led with the command vehicle there, but it didn't matter in the end, so I luckily got away with that one. Okay. He brings in an AH-1E Cobra for some reason, and that easily gets shot down by the close range units of, basically because they have a high HE power, they just destroy anything that's really close, including helicopters which come in to defend it. And as you can see, moved my Mi-2 up now, and I see that he's got a lot of RT. Now he was peppering my base at the beginning of the match. Here you can see I've used my Smirch now, using this recon to spot some well, basically to see some rise patterns. Unfortunately my Smirches don't really hit anything. He must have moved the rise patterns that I originally spotted. But basically I let them reload quickly, and then continue to go to work on the next barrage. Now, the only trouble with smirches are they use so many resources. You can see that basically one barrage is almost, well, taken down like 1/5 of the supply of FOB. So you've got to be careful. Here you can see that he's using his artillery to basically try and get rid of my special forces. Unfortunately misses most of every shot except from one. And with that I move up my recon to basically spot what he has defending it, while my Mi-24s move up slowly behind it. Now I spot this AMX Roland 2. The only thing I realise that that's the only anti-air that he has defending that. So it's time to rush as quickly as possible towards that. And he hits 2 very good hits against my Mi-24Ds. I should have spaced them out. Luckily I managed to get the stun onto the Roland with the help of the rocket pods, but they definitely needed to be spread out, and that was probably the biggest mistake I made here. But the biggest mistake he made was that he didn't bring in enough anti-aircraft to help him at the beginning of the game. And well, I think he was the one who got raped in the end. So there's that. So, a couple of points from this one. Don't be overconfident. Don't insult your opponent. He got 0 kills from that game, and he called me a noob at the end for doing that. So, there we go, guys. Just a couple of games for you today. I haven't been really playing enough, as much as I probably should have, but I hope you enjoyed these ones, guys. It was definitely funny at the time. I definitely enjoyed that second game there. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it as usual. Hope you maybe learned something. Don't bring in Apaches at the start unless you're going for air superiority. Don't insult your enemy, especially if you're going to defend 3 RTPCs with 1 AA. That's not a good idea. So yeah, guys, as much as this has been short, I've probably given you a lot of tips. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.